So apparently, Bill Gates is buying up all the land, all the farmland, you know, to be more precise. Now the question is, what is he doing with all this farmland, right? What is he doing with all this farmland? I mean, there are some estimates that say Bill Gates owns about 242,000 acres, or about a third the size of Rhode Island, of farmland, in as many as I think in the 17 to 18 states. And I think his biggest holdings is in Louisiana and Arkansas. So the question is, what is he doing with all this farmland? Okay. What is the owner of Microsoft doing with about 38% of farmland in Washington? So there are two ways you can look at this. The first way is the optimistic way. You can say, well, Bill Gates is a nice dude and is thinking of buying all this farmland to redistribute to poor people so they can have the ability to farm for themselves on that farmland without the need of relying on government, so on and so forth, Or you can be a little bit pessimistic and say, maybe he just wants power. Remember this term: whoever controls the food controls the people. That is very true. Okay. Now, what am I taking in this? What am I sticking to in this entire situation? I would say this: I'm sticking to a more pessimistic point of view. Because as much as I think Bill Gates has done some good things, I don't know why he did them. I just know he has done some good things. He's also done some pretty shady stuff, especially when it comes to Africa, India, and other third world countries. There's a lot of scandal about the vaccination of people and the rest of that. Now, that's a topic for another day. But Bill Gates has been a very not so direct individual when it comes to, I would like to call it, the rich man's, outside the country policy. I mean, he's pushing a lot of climate change news and how to control populations and stuff like that, which is kind of sketchy, but he hasn't gone out there and just said, hey, I want to kill everybody. So I think I would give him the benefit of the doubt. But I think if you start to realize that this dude was the one that pitched the idea of blocking out the sun, it makes it very hard to trust a guy like that. Very hard. Because this dude fucking pitched blocking out the sun. How are you supposed to stand behind somebody that, actually had the idea of fighting climate change by spraying some dust particles in the air that would block out the sunlight? Despite of the amount of starvation it could cause, the death, the famine, all these kinds of things. And I'm sure he did think about it because he didn't become a multi-billionaire by not thinking. So I'm sure he did know the consequences of these things. So I find it very hard to trust a man that said those things. Now, before you say that I'm being a conspiracy theorist, I would link the video of him that discusses this particular situation in the description below. Okay, so before you start blaming me or insulting me as a right-wing conspiracy theorist, I would link it down there so you can take a look for yourself. So to me, it's all about power. It's what most of these people want at the end of the day. They want power, and to talk like they care about people is the oldest trick in the book. It's the oldest trick in the book. You pretend like you care in order for people to put you in certain positions, and when you're in those positions, you fuck them over. Or you pretend like you care so people don't really suspect what you're doing. But it turns out that people are kind of suspecting a lot of things about Bill Gates, right? So that is why I'm a little bit pessimistic as to why a man wants to own all the land. And to me, it doesn't seem like it's the first option. It seems like he really wants to control the means of food. And this is going to be sold as a form of good deed on his part. Now, he has not said anything or any reason why he's buying all these things, but I think he wouldn't need to think too hard to defend himself, because, he would say something legal, but not, not necessarily, something that would get him in trouble, even though you may not believe him because he may be telling a lie, right? So all these are just speculations, and I would love to see what happens in the future, as we'll greatly skewing ourselves towards an apocalyptic like time whereby things don't seem certain and everything seems to be filled with a pile of shit. So this is again Polyboy, and I would catch you guys later, and thank you and bye.